Fish for Jimmy by Katie Yamasaki. Inspired by one family's experience in a Japanese-American internment camp. When Taro and Jimmy went to the ocean, Taro would tell Jimmy about the fish. The fish had taught Taro how to swim, he said. Jimmy hoped that one day he would be as strong and smart as Taro, that he too would learn the ways of the fish and the water. Then Taro would point across the great Pacific Ocean and tell his brothers stories about Japan, the land mother and father had left long ago in search for a better life. The life they found in California was good indeed. Father and two other men opened a vegetable market. Farmers brought their vegetables to Father's market, and he would sell them to the owners of small vegetable stands. Some days, Mother helped by keeping track of the stock and greeting the vegetable stand owners as they searched for the ripest tomato and the leafiest lettuce. But one night, early in December 1941, Mother and Father frowned deeply at what they heard on the radio. Japan had bombed Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. Taro and Jimmy wondered why their parents were so worried. Hawaii was far away, and Japan even farther. Mother answered the door to three men whose badges read FBI. The men told Father that because he was Japanese, he posed a threat to America. Father tried to explain that he loved living in America. He had a home and a vegetable market and a family here, but the men said he had to go with them. As Father left, he said to Taro, "You are the man of the house now. You must help your mother and take care of Jimmy until I return." But Father would not return soon. One day, signs went up across California with orders for people of Japanese descent. Japan and America were at war, and Japanese people were forced to leave their homes and schools and jobs. Taking only what they could carry, they boarded crowded buses with covered windows. The buses carried Mother, Jimmy, Taro, and others to a desolate land where they were forced to live in tiny barracks surrounded by guarded fences. In the dusty internment camp, Jimmy lost his appetite. "Whose child is that?" the cooks whispered, glancing at Jimmy. "He hasn't eaten since we got here." Mother bowed her head in shame and desperation. Meal after meal, day after day, Mother tried to get Jimmy to eat. "It's delicious today, Jimmy. I promise. Now open wide." Then Taro tried. Jimmy refused Taro too. Jimmy did not understand why his family couldn't be together at home near the Pacific Ocean, at home where they could eat in their own kitchen. Why couldn't his mother cook the good rice and noodles, fresh vegetables, and fish that he was used to? Soon, Jimmy stopped asking about the Pacific fish and could no longer remember how the ocean looked and smelled. He stopped running with the other children. Mother and Taro feared that Jimmy was becoming ill. Taro could not sleep as his mind filled with troubling thoughts. He worried about Jimmy. He worried about their father and remembered the night in December when the men took him away. "You must help your mother and take care of Jimmy until I return," his father had said. Quiet as a breeze, Taro wrapped the shears he had secretly borrowed from the camp garden in his mother's scarf and slid them into his pocket. He slipped out the front door. Taro crept from shadow to shadow until he arrived at the fence. He glanced at the guards in the distance. Impossible as it was, he feared they could hear his heart pounding in his chest. He clipped the fence and slipped into the darkness. Taro ran fast and far until, breathing heavily, he arrived at a mountain. A trickle of water led to a quiet pool where still black water reflected the night sky. Standing in the pool, Taro felt fish bump against his leg. He slowly lowered his hands into the water and let his fingers sway like reeds. He silently asked the river fish to help his brother. A fish swam to his swaying fingers and Taro caught it. He caught another and another until he had 7 fish for Jimmy. With the fish wrapped in his mother's scarf, Taro retraced his steps. He felt the fresh air of freedom. The cool mountain air was so different from what he breathed in the barracks. Back at camp, he slipped through the hole in the fence and once again crept from shadow to shadow back to his prison home. In the morning, there was fish for Jimmy. As Mother cooked the fish in the barracks, Taro's belly rumbled. He realized how much he, too, had missed the fresh food of home. "Are these Pacific fish?" Jimmy asked. "Did they come from far away like us?" Mother laughed as Jimmy ate at last. Taro had forgotten the sound of his mother's laugh, and it was beautiful. With bellies full, Taro and Jimmy went outside to draw pictures in the dusty earth. And when other children came by, Jimmy went off to play with them. Many months later, Father was released from prison and was permitted to join the rest of the family at the camp. Taro showed Father how each week he would creep beyond the fence to the free air of the mountains to find fish for Jimmy. Dear reader, this story is based on a true story from my own family's history in the Japanese internment camps. In the real story, my grandfather's cousin snuck out of the camp to find fish for his very young son. In the book, what happened to Taro and Jimmy's father is based on what happened to my great-grandfather, Anko Hiroshiki. On December 7th, 1941, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. Many American soldiers were killed, and the next day the United States declared war on Japan. The years that followed were extremely hard for people of Japanese descent. More than 110,000 American citizens of Japanese descent and Japanese resident aliens, including my great-grandparents, aunts, and uncles, lost their homes and were sent to live in internment camps in desolate parts of the country. They were sent there because the government feared people of Japanese descent couldn't be trusted. Many innocent Japanese men, such as my great-grandfather, were also arrested and sent to prison the night of Pearl Harbor for fear they were spies for Japan. The camps were closed in 1945, and in 1988, the United States government admitted it made a mistake and offered a formal apology to the victims of the internment.